Welcome back, Warriors. Welcome back. I know I have not been on here making a lot of videos like I wished I would have been or had been before. I hope you're willing to welcome me back. I know it's been a couple months since I've actually posted a full-length video. As you can see, I know the beloved hair is gone and facial hair is gone. I had to clean up, just something I felt like I had to do and get a change in on my life. I'm sure I'll start my venture on growing it back here soon, but for now, we're gonna keep it manicured just a little bit. I've been over there on TikTok making a lot of videos because they're shorter, they're easier to do, and they aren't as time consuming, so I could just make a video in a couple minutes and then move along. As to where when it comes to YouTube, it requires a lot more of my time. And I want to devote my time. I want to dedicate my time to do the mission that God sent me here to do. And God is the one that influenced me to make these YouTube videos in the first place. So I need to push forward. I need to stop living in my feelings and live for my fellow men and women, because ultimately we're getting into a crunch time. Before I start on any of these stories, I'm just going to say my perception on what it is that's happening in the world and what has happened. I missed a few videos when it came to some of the stuff like derailments, the chemical spills, and a lot of other events that I could have made videos about. But a lot of these events that have been happening have been seeming like they are meant for a purpose and not so much to do what other people say. So I learn a lot from being on TikTok. I learn a lot about how events may be being swayed by social media, and not to trust everything you see on social media, especially TikTok. But that goes for other social media outlets, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Just be really keen on checking your sources. Be really keen on digging deeper on any story. Don't ever just go with the narrative or the alternative. Don't just go with the mainstream or the counter mainstream. Like the conspiracy truther movement isn't always putting out truthful stuff, and that's for purposeful reasons, because the truther community is one of the biggest weapons that the controlled opposition uses, because of the perceived trust amongst one another, amongst people who believe in the same ideologies and the same circumstances, if you will, the same. We believe in a pattern. We believe in certain information that isn't necessarily out there on the mainstream, and they think if they can group people together, as long as they get us generally thinking the same thing, they can easily send somebody in to exploit us as free thinkers. And as children of God, especially, it's important for us to use our discernment on the people that we trust, the people that we listen to, and who it is that we're basing our beliefs off of. We are in a crazy state in the world right now. We are on the of um, edge of the hill, about to go over the hill into a little valley, and we're going to start. It's just peaks and valleys, but it's really just like a rolling hill effect, if you will, like being on a roller coaster going up and down. And this is by design. Okay, so we're reaching the edge of an important period, important milestone in all of this stuff happening. Do I think that we're at the breaking point? Do I think that this is like totally it? Do I think that everything is going to get pushed here? We're going to be chipped and put into these smart cities everybody's talking about and everything else? I actually don't think that that's coming down right this minute. I don't think that's coming down even in a few months or even in a couple of years. I think that infrastructure, yes, it's being built and laid down, but it's going to take real time for that infrastructure to be completely put together, completely perfected. They want it, the people in control, the satanic cabal, whatever you want to call them, satanic elite, the people who think that they are the overlords of this world, they aren't just going to be willy-nilly with their plan here. They're going to make sure that this is a solid, structural, prison before they let us think that we're being forced into anything, they're going to have stuff already laid out the way they need it to be. The infrastructure has to be set. Everything has to be perfect before they put us all into this new era of humanity and civilization, which that's what it's going to be before it actually is like the mark of the beast and all that. It's going to be a new era, a new way of living. And that's where they're going to want things before we are all shifted into that reality. So it's going to take, I still think it's going to take a couple more years. Things may seem terrible. Things always seem terrible. Things seem like they're getting worse and worse and worse progressively. And they really have always been. Since I can remember, it seems like, things have popped up way more frequently in the last 5 years. But, within the last 10 years, things kind of trended in that direction. And this has all started. And the big one that started it all was that big event that happened, a 9, and then 1-1. After that situation happened, things really seemed to ramp up, and that was by design completely. That was not just a one-off thing, but it was another milestone that they used to start it, and now they're going to use another thing to start it here soon. All these events are really going to compile, and then we could see a couple years from now our lives completely change. Does that mean it's the end of the world? Does that mean that apocalypse now is happening? Does that mean that we're all going to be chipped and put into the mark of the beast system? I don't think so. And this is what I'm saying is I don't think so. I'm not saying I know so. I'm not saying I am right. I'm not saying that I can foresee in the future. And it could very well come before then, because it seems like there's a lot of things happening at this moment in time, particularly. So of course it can seem, and it might be possible, that it's moving along a lot faster than we think, but their agenda is for by 2030. We got to remember that it's not by 2025. They want to make sure things are really good and in place for 2025, but it is not 2030. Don't panic. Don't make this, like, don't play into their hand, essentially. That's important to remember, warriors. Let's stick together, stay strong no matter what happens. You have your trust in God, you have your trust in the Holy Spirit to guide you through these days and these problems that you're having in your life, and ask Him to lead you to where you need to go, because you will always find a way out. This is not the end for us. This is not the end for you. It sucks and it probably hurts right now and it's a struggle, but we will get through this. All right, let me move on to what I have written on this whiteboard. Banks closing or crashing, as they're saying, or banks failing is the topic. It was a big. It's really a huge topic. As you can see here, next to it, I have potential false flag, and people often think false flag. There has to be people that die in a false flag. There has to be a gun involved in a false flag. There has to be a big event where something's exploding or this and that. No, there can be false flags within the financial system. There can be false flags in any system that the government or certain government agencies are heavily involved in. There is high chances for it to be manipulated and allows it to be taken on as a false flag attempt, especially when it comes to people's money. If people bum rush these banks and take all their money out, it's going to cause a lot of issues. Maybe not a lot of long-term issues, but a lot of short-term issues. And then people are going to panic even further. And then guess what? That creates the chaos and the crackdown that follows thereafter. So it's important to remember that not everything we see, not everything we hear is true. Even though it seems like you could be convinced it's true, even though there may be people that lost money, there may be people that got their bank accounts shut down, that got their accounts frozen, that can't pull out money. Why is it only a certain amount of banks? 2 banks, they said so far. If there's more that could go along to this, then I'm sure they will throw some more banks into it. But it's an attempt to stir the pot, is what it is. Because if it was really a financial, a bank collapse, as people are saying, it would be a whole across the nation. It wouldn't be a few banks a few banks closing down, it would be every bank would be closing down because our paper currency would be worth nothing, which is essentially still worth nothing, but we allow it to be worth something. So if it was really worth nothing, if they still didn't have the grip on this system that they need, they would just crash all banks. And they're doing this with small, like insignificant bank crashes, but blowing them up to be huge and like it's a big deal. And but they're trying to play it cool at the same time. It's a big psychological game that this high profile group of oligarchs at the top, because that's what it is. It's not just one leader, and it's not just well, it is just one leader, but it's not just one leader for each individual country. It's an oligarch that works under one leader, and that leader is Satan. So the marching orders are given to the oligarchs, and the oligarchs pass down through their cronies to, play that plan out within their own individual governments and countries. So they gaslight. They also try and be psychological with it. So they try and make you think, oh, they're playing it off like they're not that worried so that you don't freak out. So we should freak out. No, that's how they want you to react, because they know any kind of bank closing or any kind of financial collapse would be a big deal to anybody. They gaslight. They make it sound bad. They'll put things on the news that make it seem like it's the worst thing. It could potentially be the worst thing ever. And they'll send things out on social media to convince you that it will be the worst thing ever. But then meanwhile, on the other side, they play it cool, like it's not that big of a deal. So you think, as a quote unquote conspiracy theorist, that they're up to something, that they are getting ready to drop the hammer down. Well, and that's just not the case. There's a lot of levels to this, a lot of levels that I don't understand, that I'm sure many people don't understand, because we're not the inside guys. We're not the guys that got the clearances for this. We're not the guys that got the the message, the memo. We are the people at the bottom. So it's important to remember that we will never actually know what's happening. That's why it's our job to figure it out ourselves. So play it cool, guys. Play it cool, because until every bank starts closing across America, until everybody has lost their money, that is the situation you need to worry about. And you're not going to know until it happens. So why freak out until the point that it happens? Just play it cool. And if it does happen, plan accordingly. Prepare. Don't be unprepared. Don't be caught off guard or unprepared by these situations. Just ready yourself, so when crap does hit the fan, you're ready to go. You're ready to strap on those boots and say, all right, where are we going next? What's our next mode of maneuvering? Because it's very important to have a plan set in place, that of actions that you can take if you lost all your money, if the system completely goes down, the grid goes down. It's important to have something in place, because you got to think also with this, if the financial system goes down, do you have to worry about paying your mortgage or any of this other stuff? No, there's a lot worse things coming down the line. If everybody's broke, how is America going to get their money? And if everybody's broke, why would they care at that point to listen to anything the government has to say? They have to play this smart, warriors. If they don't play it smart, their whole plan will blow up in their face. So just remember that. They want it to be completely done a certain way, so that everybody just kind of falls into it and it's not just random. All right, so yeah, the bank closures could be a potential false flag. We have to see it as such, as a potential false flag. Not to say don't worry, not to say don't keep your wits about you, not to say that this is a false bank closing, that it didn't actually happen, but the event itself is used to be a false flag tactic to drive people to do certain things that they want to do, to manipulate the masses into carrying out further plans that they hope that will easily allow them to continue on with the agenda they have set in place. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next subject I have here. It's weather. This weather is crazy, okay? And not one thing about it is normal. None of this is normal. I got 30-degree weather outside in March, which isn't the most unrealistic thing, not the most unbelievable thing, but I got flowers blooming. Why are the flowers blooming? Because even whenever it would be cold in March, those flowers weren't blooming, but they're still blooming even though it's or they're coming out of the ground, I should say, even though it's 30-degree weather. They're not supposed to do that. That's not normal. 3 years that I lived right here in this property, it's never done that. Also, our January and February over here in the southwestern PA region has been extremely mild, and now we're starting to feel the backlash like I knew was going to happen, and I did express on many videos on TikTok and on here before about how this was going to take an effect, how this effect was going to happen, because the people in charge have warmed the temperatures purposely, artificially, and manipulated our weather. Now the cycle is kicking in, and the world is trying to regulate itself, trying to get back to normal, and it don't know what the heck to do. So instead, it's starting to fluctuate temperatures that aren't natural, and things in the ground are starting to grow when they're not supposed to grow in 30-degree weather. So this weather is strange. We're getting the backlash of this warm weather. All the comments I got on TikTok were, "Oh, I'm loving it. Oh, and you had the troll comments say this never happened before. Like, why are you complaining or all this other stuff?" I'm complaining because it's not natural, and because it's clearly going to affect things later on down the line. It makes you wonder if people are paid to go into your comment section and say this stuff by a nefarious, group of little hackers or trolls that are sent out amongst uh, social media platforms to have accounts to purposely try and embarrass or rag on people that are going against the narrative, or they're working for the government, or maybe they are just trolls, just alone in their basement in their board, or alone at their house on their computer board and want to cause some trouble. Either way, we know that there's hired trolls. So there's messages in there that are obviously meant to deceive. But this weather is going to continue to be crazy. I'm really wondering what summer's going to look like here. I'm really wondering how that's going to play out. I'm wondering if the summer is going to be a regular warm summer, or if this summer is going to be a period of warm and then a period of cold, and then warm and then cold, and like a totally unnatural summer. We'll see. It's got me worried. Maybe it won't happen, and maybe things will be okay. And I'm hoping it does. And that's another thing I want to say on here is I'm never here trying to push out fear or say anything crazy or get people thinking that that the world's coming to an end. Just be aware that this stuff does happen, and that this stuff is not normal, and that it's something you should keep your eyes out for. Okay, don't listen to me. Listen to yourself. Listen to your spirit inside of you. Pray to God and ask for Him to reveal to you things in your spirit, in your feeling, your intuitive, in touch senses with yourself into the world around you, and figure out what is going on. So I wonder what this summer is going to be like. Hopefully it's fine. I don't ever want to be right about things that I say. I don't ever want things to play out the way I say them, because if they did, it'd be horrific. And if it did, then I'd be terrified. I don't want it to play out that way, and I'm hoping it doesn't. But it's good to realize that that is a possibility, so that when it does happen, I'm not caught off guard in my mind, in the mental capacity of things. I'm not in the mental sector of things. I'm not caught off guard by something like that happening in the middle of summer, a cold snap or something crazy happening, like some crazy weather. Our weather is being manipulated. Our weather is very much different than it was even a year ago, even 2 years ago. It's much different. So keep your heads up, pay attention. I won't go much further into it, but it's definitely being manipulated. The last thing I have on here is just a verse of the day, and it's a real short verse. It's just one liner. It's always important to keep your spirit going, keep your spirit in touch with the creation God. So I love putting these little verses, little words in here of wisdom. This is from 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 16, and it says, "Rejoice evermore." Whatever happens here, whatever is going to happen here, that's just it. It happens here. It doesn't happen wherever our soul travels to after this. So Earth may seem like permanent, or your permanent residence, or you may want to make it your permanent residence, or this 3D physical realm may be where you're comfortable and where you want to stay. But this is not where we're meant to finish this task, where we're meant to finish this mission. This mission is meant to be finished in many different realms, cycles, places, not just here on Earth. So the Earth is just one place we inhabit, I believe, and the journey of our spirits. And that is important to remember. Rejoice evermore. You know, we are eternal beings because of God, because of God's greatness and God's goodness, because of God's loving and caring way. We have eternal life. We are supposed to rejoice evermore that He created us, that He gave us a chance, that our souls have a mission. So rejoice. Do not fret. Do not get upset. Do not get scared. Do not worry yourself to death. Whatever happens here is temporary. Your soul is forever. That is what is most important to focus on. All right. That message I'm cutting out. It was great to come back. Love making YouTube videos. I love being able to talk more about what it is that I'm really feeling in the moment and what I want to say. So I love you all. Stay strong. Keep praying for each other. Keep looking out for each other, because it's most important right now, at this point now more than ever, that we have each other's backs and look out for one another. Once again, stay strong. God bless you all, and go in peace.